Fox Sports.
We are Buckmore. We are Arizona.
A Friday night in the Valley. It's a Diamondback baseball Friday night as the Arizona Diamondbacks are in first place in the National League West, riding a 4-game winning streak. And tonight here at Chase Field, welcoming the Philadelphia Phillies in for the second game of a 4-game set. Good evening from Chase Field and welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly along the way. Your first place Arizona Diamondbacks here, Bob, taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. The second of 4 here at Chase Field. Last night we saw them neutralize Ryan Howard with some defensive maneuvering. We've all seen some shifts before on some left-hand power hitters, but what the Diamondbacks did last night worked to perfection.
Well, and why not? You look at the numbers for Ryan Howard and where he hits the ball. You see the graphic on the right side there. He hits the ball on the ground to the right side almost exclusively. So why not load that side up with defenders? You can see what the Diamondbacks did. They left the entire left side of the infield wide open. And in the shift, you see first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, all aligned on the right side of the field. We talked about this during the course of the telecast. You leave the shortstop, who has the best range on the left side, to cover that entire side of the field. Now, things changed. It was actually 2 different shifts because later in the game, Howard came up with a runner at second and a runner at first. You can't allow that runner at second just to walk to third base, so Martin PRADO goes back on the left side of the infield. They slide DIDI Gregorius over to the right side. Achieve exactly the same thing, but you have a defender on that left side of the infield just in case the runner breaks for third.
And it worked out great last night. Twice last night, Ryan Howard grounded out to Cliff Pennington in shallow right field. So in a sense, the shift really took 2 base hits away from the Phillies' first baseman. Bullpen-wise now here, Bob. Heath Bell has worked the last 3 games in a row. He saved every game, so it might be David Hernandez tonight.
Well, this gets back to that depth we talked about, going all the way back to the beginning of spring training, having multiple guys who are capable of closing a game. Certainly you wish it wasn't because of an injury to J.J. Putz, but the fact is Heath Bell has closed many times in the past. He has more saves than anybody else in the majors since the 2009 season, so I think the tail end of that bullpen is still in very good hands.
Diamondbacks trying to keep the winning streak going here. They'll have their opening day starter Ian Kennedy on the mound. When we come back, we'll continue to talk Diamondback defense. Brad Steinke rejoins us. You're watching Arizona Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona.
UPS store, flyers, business cards, brochures, and more. We can print that.
And welcome back to Chase Field on a Friday night. The D-backs look to continue their winning ways. Game 2 of this series against the Philadelphia Phillies. Brad Steinke joined by Baxter, the Bobcat here. He's having some fun here. So are we. Interested as Ian Kennedy gets the start tonight, looking to start his season and get it going again. So many one-run games for the D-backs this season, 15 in fact, and so defense has been paramount. We saw it again last night, and Gerardo Parra has done such a great job this season. D-backs fielding percentage 995. They've got somebody put out an assist. You can quantify those data right there, but it's been the little things, throwing to the cutoff man and making sure the throws go to the right guy. But Parra with a couple of outstanding outfield assists last night, and the ship was on right there, and Cliff Pennington provides the great defense. It's really what has been winning games for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and certainly Ian Kennedy hopes that continues tonight. He is 1-2 on the season, looks to get his second win as the D-backs get ready to continue the series against the Phils. Ian on the hill once again for your Arizona Diamondbacks. Bob Brenly, Steve Berthume with the call right here on Fox Sports Arizona. Don't go away.
Baseball, roof and panels open here at Chase Field, and the Diamondbacks, who've won 4 straight and 5 of their last 6, get set to take on Charlie Manuel's Philadelphia Phillies. This is the lineup that Charlie has put out there. Almost the same look, Bob, as we saw last night. John Mayberry a starter tonight, though.
Yeah, one minor change down there with Mayberry in that 7th spot. This is a lineup that all runs with those top 4 guys. Rollins Utley, Michael Young, and Ryan Howard. Last night they were held 0 for 14 in the ballgame.
Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley, and Michael Young will lead it off here against our Arizona Ford Diamondback starting pitcher. The opening day ace is on the mound, Ian Kennedy.
Yeah, looking for a bounce back outing here. Last time out against the Padres, went only 5 2/3, gave up 5 hits, gave up a couple of homers, walked 3 guys in that ball game. He's been working very hard in his side sessions to try to improve his fastball command. Everybody that has seen Ian Kennedy pitch knows that everything works off his ability to throw the fastball to both sides of the plate, elevate when necessary, keep it down when necessary. He just hasn't had that fine control of the fastball so far this season.
And most of the pitchers on this staff throw that sinking 2-seam fastball. Ian does not. He's a 4-seam rising fastball guy.
Throws that cutter as well. The changeup is a pitch that he goes to when he feels he's in trouble. We've seen a lot of changeups out of Ian Kennedy lately. Hopefully just when he needs it tonight.
Phillies 16-20 on the year. Their loss here last night, coupled with a Braves win in San Francisco, dropped Philadelphia 6 behind Atlanta in the NL East, as Jimmy Rollins is set to lead us off here at Chase Field. And he drives it first pitch, swinging, looking up, and that ball is gone. Jimmy Rollins, his 44th career leadoff home run, and one pitch into the game, it's 1-0 Philadelphia.
Middle cut fastball. You'd like to think you can ease your way into a game, but not against a Phillies offense that has been starved for hits and runs lately. You know they're going to come out aggressively against Ian Kennedy. Jimmy Rollins jumping on that first pitch fastball right in the middle of the plate, spotting the Phillies to a 1-0 lead.
You saw the look on Ian's face. Really? So one pitch, one run for the Phillies. Here's Chase Utley. There's the strike, 0-1. Utley 269, 7 home runs and 24 RBIs. He was 0 for 3 with a walk here last night. Another rough first inning for a Diamondback starting pitcher. That's been a recurrent theme. 1-2 now. Ian Kennedy has not won since opening day. Winless in 6 starts since he beat the Cardinals here back on April the 1st. Center field, Gerardo Parra continues to back up. It's carrying, and Parra can't hang on. Utley flies around second. He stutter steps and heads for third. And they got him at third. He gave a half-second skip of a beat crossing second base. He stutter stepped just enough for the Diamondbacks to get him at third.
Parra had some trouble gauging that ball to straightaway center field. Looked like it tipped off the webbing of his glove, but he recovers well, makes a strong throw to Eric Chavez, who blocks the bag at third. Boy, how did he manage to hang on to that baseball? Came right through the runner, Chase Utley, but he does hang on for the out at third.
And Mike Malinsky waited until he saw the ball in Chavez's glove to record the count. So 2 hard hit balls off Ian Kennedy to start the game. 1 a home run, 1 a double, and an out at third. And here's Michael Young.
Boy, Utley got a lot more carry on that ball to straightaway center than it appeared when the ball initially left his bat.
Yeah, Parra started camping out deep in center like it was going to come to him, and it just carried right over his head. And Utley saw that. I think Utley thought that he'd gone far enough, because he did almost stop at second base and then continue. There's a 4-pitch walk to Michael Young. Watch Utley as he rounds second base. Watch the stutter step here. Yep. And that was what did it. It was just enough to get him at third. And Bob, the shift is on as Ryan Howard steps in.
As it should be. We showed you the numbers earlier. Ryan Howard is a guy with tremendous power. When he hits the ball in the air, he can go deep to left, center, or right. But the overwhelming majority of balls that he hits on the ground, he will pull to the right side of the field.
One and 0. Howard 0 for 4 last night. Struck out twice and twice grounded out to second base. But in reality, with the shift on, the 2 ground outs should have been base hits. There is Eric Chavez, the third baseman, positioned where the second baseman would normally be. You see Martin PRADO in shallow right field. And this is not the start that Ian Kennedy envisioned.
Well, not by any stretch of the imagination. A first pitch homer, second batter doubles off the wall in right center, very nearly a triple. Walks Michael Young, and now has to deal with Ryan Howard and Chuch Ruiz.
Here's the 2-0.
Well, that's something that Charlie Manuel was talking about before the ball game today. His club has been struggling offensively with some very much marquee names in this lineup. He said a lot of guys are taking the good pitches and swinging at the bad ones. That time Ryan Howard got himself in a 2-0 count, took a fastball right down the middle of the plate.
Kennedy behind here, 3-1. Yes, that is Eric Chavez, and he is the third baseman. DIDI Gregorius has that left side of the infield all to himself. Martin PRADO, the second baseman, on the edge of the grass in shallow right. Here's the 3-1 now. There goes Young. Howard pulls it foul.
And we've seen this shift from the Diamondbacks only for extreme cases like Ryan Howard. A lot of teams in baseball, however, are going more and more to these exaggerated shifts one direction or the other, depending on the pitcher on the mound, the hitter at the plate, obviously. But Tampa Bay, the Chicago Cubs, the Milwaukee Brewers all play exaggerated shifts more often than not.
Young takes off again. Howard lofts it high and deep to right field. Cody Ross is at the track. He's under it. Young back to first. 2 outs now. AT&T Twitter poll question time. Should more teams employ the defensive shift like the one we just saw? Tweet either yes or no and tweet your vote to @FoxSportsAZ. The results later in the game. Howard got under that one just a bit.
Kind of a lazy swing through the hitting zone, but still drove it to the warning track in right field.
So 2 outs, Young at first. Here's Carlos Ruiz.
You know, talking about these exaggerated pull shifts, Alan Trammell is the Diamondbacks coach that's responsible for positioning the defenders, but these guys, after the first game of the series, they know where they're supposed to play depending on who's on the mound, who's at the plate.
Base hit up the middle. Third hit of the inning for the Phillies against Ian Kennedy.
Left fielder, number 9, Dominic Brown.
There's a lot of pitches over the big part of the plate right now for Ian Kennedy. He had talked about his effort to try to find the corners of the plate in his side session between starts. Hasn't translated here in the first inning.
Well, he's a pitch away from getting out of what looks like a mess here, and if he can get Brown, he'll be thankful to get out of here with only the 1 run. Dominic Brown on base 3 times last night. He singled, doubled, reached on a fielder's choice, and scored the only run of the game for the Phillies. He was 2 for 4. And Bob, I was standing behind the Phillies cage in batting practice, and I'm not kidding you, he hit a few into the Diamond Club out there. It was something to see. Way back there where it says Diamond Club, right under there. Brown just 4 hits in his last 25 at bats, but 2 of those hits are home runs.
And when a player has a batting practice session like that, some of his teammates will ask him, what time is it? A lot of guys hit homers at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
What do you do at 7?
I knew I wasn't going to impress you with that.
No, it is impressive.
It was fun to watch.
Yeah, when you get a guy that's locked in, whether it's batting practice or game time, and he's just hitting one ball after another into the stratosphere, it's fun to watch.
Case in point.
Yes.
Hard to right. They're going to wave Michael Young. Here's the throw from Ross. It's cut off.
RBI single for Dominic Brown. The Phillies take a 2-0 lead.
Oh, there's been a lot of loud contact in this inning against Ian Kennedy. That ball hit like a bullet through the right side. Brady Ross's throw just didn't come out of his hand well that time. A couple of hops to the cutoff, man. I don't believe they had a shot at Michael Young at the plate anyway.
Yeah, these are not cheapies. These are all very, very well hit balls, and they're going to have to figure something out here.
You know, Steve, we talked about it in that Dodger series. Obviously, a struggling Dodger ball club. You want to get in, do your business, and get out as quickly as possible because you know eventually the law of averages is going to catch up and guys are going to reach their level. And I kind of felt the same way about this Phillies team. We've been talking about how they've been struggling to hit, struggling to score runs, and you know with some of the names they have in this lineup that at some point they're going to bust out.
Jimmy Rollins busted out on the first pitch of the ball game. Solo shot to lead it off. Another run in now. First and second, 2 outs. Here's John Mayberry. Big right hand hitter, 6'6", 225. From Kansas City, went to high school there. Of course, growing up the son of legendary Royals first baseman John Mayberry Sr. Had a pinch hit single in Thursday's series opener here. They had Ruiz hung up, nobody home. Over his last 15 games, Mayberry batting 154, 6 for his last 39. He skies it up in the air, right hand side. Paul Goldschmidt underneath. And the Phillies strand 2, but they get 2 across. Will go bottom 1. Diamondbacks down 2-0. Diamondbacks trailing 2-0 right out of the gate here, trying to keep this winning streak going. Maintain at least their tie atop the NL West. Bob, a different look to the lineup tonight for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, moving some guys around, trying to find a comfort level for some of these guys, especially the 2 down there at the bottom. Martin Prado, Miguel Montero, both scuffling, even though Montero's been hitting the ball better lately, just not getting the results. A lot of lefties in the lineup against the right-hander.
And that is Tyler Cloyd, the Phillies' 7th different starting pitcher this season in just their 37th game. And he's got some big shoes to fill. He takes the rotation spot of the injured Roy Halladay.
Yeah, not an overpowering guy by any stretch of the imagination. His four-seam fastball sits in the mid-80s, occasionally will touch the upper 80s. Throws a cutter, occasional curveball, occasional changeup.
He's got a quick 2-0 lead. He faces Gerardo Parra to lead off the first inning for Arizona.
Our 307, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs. Tyler Cloyd from Nebraska. He was a Cornhusker. 19th round pick by the Phillies in the 2008 draft. He does not throw hard, as we mentioned. Succeeds by locating the fastball and the cutter. Generally works between 84 and 88 with good control. And the cutter is the key pitch. If he's spotting that cut fastball, he can be effective. When the cutter is not there for him, then he'll go to his changeup, breaking ball, and that's where he struggles. So watch to see if he can control that cut fastball. So far, the answer is no. Leadoff walk for Gerardo Parra. Roy Halladay will have surgery on his shoulder next week. This is his turn in the rotation.
For Tyler Cloyd, over his last 44 minor league starts, tremendous numbers. 21-6 with a 2.66 ERA. Some of those in AA, some in AAA. Yeah, but you mentioned it, the big shoes to fill.
Yeah, last year 12-1 with AAA Lehigh Valley, a 2.35 ERA. Here's DIDI Gregorius. DIDI 422, 3 home runs and 3 RBIs. The Phillies said yesterday that Roy Halladay will have arthroscopic surgery on that right shoulder Wednesday, which is one day after his 36th birthday. He's just 2-4 this year. The ERA is over 8.5. They're going to go in there and repair a bone spur, clean up the rotator cuff and the labrum. The goal, they say, is to be as non-invasive as they can, but it sounds like they have some medical work to do there. And DIDI Gregorius launches one high and deep to right, and that ball is going to be off the wall and caught. John Mayberry Jr. with a tremendous leaping catch into the wall to take a base hit away from DIDI Gregorius.
Boy, hit it in absolutely the right spot of the ballpark. That's as short of a home run as you can possibly get, right down that right field line. But John Mayberry, using every bit of that frame, goes up against the yellow stripe, makes a nice leaping catch. Man, I thought we had a tie game right there.
6'6", 225, and as Bob said, he needed every bit of it. So allowed out number 1 there, and here's Paul Goldschmidt. 313, 9 homers, a National League leading 30 RBIs. Goldie 0 for 3 with a walk last night, hitting .407 for the month of May. 4 home runs, 12 driven in. His on-base percentage this month is .486. He's behind 0-2. He's in the top 7 in all these 4 offensive categories in the National League.
And there's a reason for that. Obviously, he's very physically gifted, has the tools necessary to be a good hitter, but it comes with a lot of hard work. Steve, I know you saw it this afternoon. They set up a pitching machine on the mound here at Chase Field. They do it a couple times a week and threw breaking balls to the hitters. Their daily batting practice that they get off the coaches is just straight pitches, one after another after another. But once or twice a homestand, once or twice a road trip, they'll set up the pitching machine on the mound and throw breaking pitches. And who was the first guy in line? Paul Goldschmidt.
You know why? Because he's the first one here. He always is. As he's told me, I don't like to be rushed. He's a get there early guy. Parra on first after a walk. Here's the 1-2. Keeping a close eye on Parra. 4 stolen bases. He's been caught 5 times this year. A reminder, every time a Diamondbacks player hits a home run this season, Fulton Homes will donate $150 to the Central Arizona Mountain Rescue Association. Jimmy Rollins. Utley has the force. There's the turn. Goldschmidt beats it out.
Jimmy Rollins has been very tentative defensively at shortstop in this series already. We saw him lay back on a ball at shortstop last night. Really had to rush his throw across the diamond. That time laid back on that slow hopper to short. Very little chance to get two. The thing is, though, you hang out your second baseman. When you lay back on the ball that long, that gives that runner at first base a chance to bear down on the second baseman right at the bag.
On a second baseman with two bad knees in Chase Utley. Here's Eric Chavez.
Double plays are all about timing, and watch how Jimmy Rollins takes a step in and then holds his ground, lets the ball come to him, and there's Parra right on top of Chase Utley. He really could have done some damage there had he chose to do so.
Eric Chavez on base 3 times in his last start. That was Tuesday at Dodger Stadium. 275, 4 homers, and 12 RBIs. Last Tuesday, Chavez walked, singled, doubled, had an RBI, and scored a run. He's hit safely in 10 of his last 12 games. Tyler Cloyd started for AAA Lehigh Valley, the Iron Pigs, last Friday. Pitched very well against Indianapolis. Gave up a run on 4 hits, 10 strikeouts in 8 innings. He did not walk a batter. And he said the difference for him in that last start, his ability to command that cut fastball. He did not have great command with a cutter in his first 5 AAA starts this year. And as a result, his ERA was over 6.5. Eric Chavez high to right. Will it stay fair? Foul ball. 2 close calls over there in the inning for the Diamondbacks.
Watching some of the swings that the Phillies took against Ian Kennedy in the first and some of the hacks the D-backs have had against Tyler Cloyd here in the bottom of the first. I don't think this is going to be a one-run game.
Pitcher's duel?
No. I think the guys in the bullpen are getting loose already on both sides of the field.
Cloyd was called up for his big league debut last August 29th. He made 6 starts for the Phillies last season. Went 2-2, the ERA 4.91. 18 runs on 33 hits in 33 innings.
Chavez has been one of the hottest Diamondbacks hitters against right-handed pitching since the middle of last month. He's hitting .333 with 4 doubles and 4 homers.
Down the right field line. That's a fair ball. Paul Goldschmidt heads for third. Chavez has second. Matt Williams puts on the brakes, and Goldie runs through the stop side. And he's safe. Chavez to third. Paul Goldschmidt ran right through it. And it's 2-1.
Chavez with a rope double down into that right field corner. Watching Paul Goldschmidt, I think once he gets up ahead of steam, it's just too hard for him to stop. Unfortunately, he was looking down at the bag at third as Matt Williams threw up the stop sign. He didn't see it until it was too late. Couldn't stop his momentum, so he just kept on rolling.
That's a double, an RBI. Chavez to third on the throw, and it's 2-1. Cody Ross now. Boy, Goldie barreling action coming around third. Matt Williams would have had to throw himself in front of traffic to stop him. He's wearing a helmet, but he would have needed a suit of armor there.
Well, the timing of that play is so tough for a coach and a runner, because the runner obviously at some point he needs to look down and make sure he hits the bag. And in the meantime, the coach is watching the throw come in from the outfield, trying to get a read on whether or not to send the runner. And that time it looked like Matty threw up the stop sign just as Paul was looking down at the bag.
Jimmy Rollins. That's the inning. Paul Goldschmidt comes home with the first run of the game for Arizona, 2-1 after 1.
Bottom of the first inning, we head to the top half of the second. It'll be the 8, 9, and 1 hitters for the Phillies.
Ben Revere. Revere 229, 5 RBIs. He was 0 for 2 here last night. No National League player hits the ball on the ground more than Ben Revere. Case in point. Paul Goldschmidt. That's Goldie's defense. Let's look at his base running here, Bob.
It's exactly as we suspected, partner. Goldie was looking down. We're going to double box you right here. Goldie looking down at the base at third just as Matt Williams on your right throws up the stop sign, so he doesn't see it until right there. He's a good 3 or 4 steps around the bag at third. Figures, what the heck, I'm this far toward home, I might as well keep going. Just the timing of that play between the coach and the runner. Many times you blame the coach. Why did he send the guy right there? Why did he stop the guy right there? Well, sometimes it's just what happens. The runner has to look down to find the base at some point.
Tyler Cloy, the pitcher.
That's how spoiled we are with Goldie's defense. He makes a great play at first. We don't even show a replay of it. We'd rather watch his base running. We've seen plenty of his defense. That was not an easy play on Ben Revere. Goldie was drawn in to protect against a possible bunt. Really had to go up the ladder to catch that high hopper.
Ian Kennedy's ERA is 5.19, the highest it's been at this point in the season since he's been with the Diamondbacks. Got the strikeout. 2 down here in the second. 3 things you need to know about the Diamondbacks defense. They are, well, they're the best in baseball in terms of the least amount of errors, the most amount of assists, and they are 8th in double plays turned at 32. The defense is one of the reasons why Arizona is leading this division, along with the Giants, who play later tonight against the Braves at AT&T Park. Jimmy Rollins homered on the first pitch of the baseball game tonight. Following the loss in San Diego in his last start, Ian had a meeting with Kirk Gibson and Kevin Towers. As far as what exactly was discussed, Gibby would only say that he felt Ian was getting away from who he is. Rollins, it gets through. That's a base hit. Jimmy Rollins 2 for 2. 5 hits now for the Phillies.
A well-placed ground ball that time. Martin Prado could have very easily dived for that ball, made a play, but he isn't going to get Jimmy Rollins at first base anyway, so he wisely just lets it roll through into center field, retreats back to the bag at second. Every player has that little stopwatch running in their mind. They know who the hitter is at the plate, what kind of speed he has, and after you go a certain number of steps after a ground ball, you realize I'm not going to get him anyway.
Chase Utley doubled his first time up. He was thrown out trying to stretch it into a triple. Rollins at first with 2 outs. Ian Kennedy says he's just not been able to put away anybody. Said after the loss on Sunday, there were times when I had 2 strikes on guys and I didn't have that put away pitch. Whether it was my fastball or changeup, especially in those big situations. He said it's frustrating when he needs to strike somebody out to have that put away pitch to go to, and suddenly it's not there. Kirk Gibson says he doesn't feel like Ian has the confidence in his pitches that he's had in the past. He allowed 2 runs in the first inning in his last start at San Diego, Cole Hamels' hometown. And he allowed 2 in the first inning here tonight. Trying to strand Rollins at first. It gets through Montero. Rollins advances. That's a wild pitch.
Breaking ball in the dirt down and into Chase Utley. Once again, Miggy kind of coming up a little bit. He's always been so good about dropping down to his knees, squaring his shoulders, and keeping that ball in front. Just kind of tried to pick that one out of the dirt like an infielder.
Three and 1 now. Ian has been falling behind hitters, getting behind in counts, going deeper into at-bats than just that first pitch strike. He's averaging nearly 1 more walk every game than he has over his last 2 seasons. And when you combine that with poor location, it adds up to trouble. Because then it gets you in situations when you're behind and you have to throw a near perfect pitch, and it's just not been happening.
And really playing with fire with Chase Utley. Trying to pound him inside with cutters and 4-seamers. Chase Utley is extremely quick inside.
He just has that choppy swing, just kind of chops at it with all wrists.
Good change up there on a 3-1 pitch. Figures that Chase Utley's sitting on fastball, and he was way out in front of that changeup.
Back to Kennedy. Gregorius behind the bag, and they make the outs. So they strand Rollins. Will go bottom 2. Diamondbacks trail at 2-1. More Paul Goldschmidt defense here at Chase Field. Sometimes you play the ball, sometimes the ball plays you. Jason Kubel leads off the second. Good yucks down there in the Diamondbacks dugout. And what do we mean by that, Bob?
Well, that last play looked relatively routine. When we have an opportunity here, we're going to show you a replay. I'd like a show of hands at home. How many people saw that ground ball hit the bag at second? Well, DIDI did, and he's the only one that matters. This is why infielders start with their glove low and make an adjustment coming up.
Center field, Ben Revere.
That ball was hit right back through the middle of the field, through the legs of Ian Kennedy. DIDI Gregorius positioned almost right behind second base, but the ball hits the base. But because he's in that good fielding position with his glove down low to the ground, he's able to make that quick adjustment, come up on the ball, and turn it into a relatively routine play.
We have seen more batted balls go off bases in just this first few weeks of the season than I can recall. DIDI Gregorius, a .982 fielding percentage this year. Martin Prado. Prado 234, 4 homers and 8 RBIs. New look to the lineup here. Prado hitting 7th, Montero hitting 8th. He's behind 0-2 against Tyler Cloyd. There is Miggy in the 8-hole tonight.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 6 runs or more, Taco Bell's giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Ball's been flying around. Could be a taco night. Prado strikes out. 2 down here in the second.
Catcher number 26, Miguel Montero.
Miguel Montero, 198 on the year, 2 homers and 12 RBIs. He was on base twice last night, pair of walks. Miggy 4 for 18 over his last 5 games.
First time since May 12th of 2011.
What do you think about this, Bob? A veteran guy, he's the leader of your team, and obviously he's been scuffling and fighting it now, and here he is batting 8th.
Well, I think Kirk Gibson knows better than anybody else what it takes to motivate his players. And for Miguel Montero, a very prideful young man, works extremely hard, wants to be a major contributor to this offense. Maybe he feels this is the best way to motivate Miggy. Put him down there in that 8th spot. He can use some of that anger against the opposing pitcher. When you're not hitting the way you expected to hit, not only as an individual but as a team, you try just about everything. I mean, more video work, more batting practice, less batting practice.
Lifted in the air, left hand side. Here comes Dominic Brown underneath. And that's a 1-2-3 second for Tyler Cloyd. Diamondbacks trail at 2-1. has not seen his family for quite a while since he's been serving overseas, and they were reunited here tonight. Congratulations to the Colson family, and Sergeant Colson, thanks very much for your service. Michael Young leads off the Phillies' third here against Ian Kennedy. First pitch swing, and Eric Chavez spins and throws, and he got him. 6 Gold Gloves.
But it doesn't seem to matter who you put out there, where you put them. Playing different positions. We've seen some exaggerated defensive shifts. It doesn't seem to make any difference to the Diamondbacks defenders. They get to the ball, they make the play, they make a good throw.
3 things you need to know. Eric Chavez, drafted by the A's in '96. He has won 6 Gold Gloves over there, in addition to a Silver Slugger.
Yeah, when he's playing third base, he rarely looks into the dugout to see if he's playing in the right position. But when he's on the right side of the infield as a third baseman, he has to look in and make sure he's exactly where Alan Trammell wants him to play.
Only Brooks Robinson, Mike Schmidt, and Scott Rowland have more Gold Gloves at third base in baseball history than Eric Chavez. Ryan Howard flied out his first time up. Howard just 3 for his last 19, including 10 strikeouts. The shift is on. He hits it foul.
If you really wanted to put a shift on Ryan Howard, you'd put DIDI Gregorius in foul territory down the first baseline, because Ryan Howard is going to hit the ball on the ground to that side. Some of them fair, some of them foul.
As you can see, DIDI is all by himself over there, but he's almost behind the bag at second. They elevate, doesn't chase, 2-2. Ryan Howard, 2005 NL Rookie of the Year. Following season, he was league MVP. He's finished in the top 10 of the MVP vote 6 times. Kennedy misses there. It's run full, 3-2.
And these exaggerated shifts aren't done on a whim. You see the numbers right there. Why put a defender in a position on the field where the guy is probably never going to hit the ball?
Struck him out. Second strikeout for Ian Kennedy. The Howard shift. Here's Paul Goldschmidt earlier today.
As a hitter, you hate to see it, but that was a great play by Penny to get over there. And I almost didn't cover first just because you're not used to a ball over your head that normally is a double, the second baseman getting it. So it's kind of fun when it works out, but sometimes it doesn't. It's just part of the game.
Paul Goldschmidt. Carlos Ruiz now. He singled his last time up. The play to which Paul was referring was last night when Howard lined a clean single into right. Cliff Pennington, who was playing second base last night, was almost on the right field foul line and threw Howard out at first. It went in the scorebooks as a ground out 4-3, but this is a clean single, and he's caught at first base. Watch Cliff Pennington. What a play. And that's just got to drive you nuts.
Oh, it has to as a hitter.
Howard.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
The real wild card in that play is the length of that throw for Penny. That was a long throw from out there in medium depth right field near the foul line. Most second basemen aren't used to making that kind of throw to first base.
And watch how his momentum is carrying him toward the stands, really. He has to stop, plant, and throw. And they just got him. 3-1 now to Ruiz. Ball 4.
Left fielder.
Of course, in a lot of the defensive shifts that you see, a lot of the pitch selection that you see against an opponent is a direct byproduct of Mark Wiedemeyer, the D-backs advanced scout. He watched the Phillies last week, filed his report, and he's moved on to our future opponents, and we'll do the same thing with those guys. Who can we shift on? Who do we have to pitch this way or that way? Those advanced scouts are a very valuable member of any organization.
Dominic Brown, RBI single his first time up. And I talked to Matt Williams about that before the game, and Matt told me everybody knows where they're supposed to go. There's a definitive plan. They're showed video, they're showed charts. Everybody has an idea where they're supposed to be, and they really don't have to move guys around too much. They all know their jobs, and they're in their spots. Throw down to first.
Goldie saved an error there. Mickey with that snap throw behind the left-handed hitter. That's a good time to attempt a pickoff. He just rushed his throw a little bit too much. Fortunately, Paul Goldschmidt able to knock it down, keep it on the infield. Those pickoff attempts at first base with a left-handed hitter, it's kind of like a hide and go seek. You know, you're sitting back there in front of the umpire, kind of hidden behind the hitter as far as the runner at first is concerned.
Dominic Brown has always been a promising prospect, but lately it's a bit more like a suspect in his age 25 season now. Still has not played a full year in the big leagues. And he's opened the season slowly again. Hit .206 over his first 20 games. Hit .233 in April. Phillies GM Ruben Amaro says that they believe in Dominic Brown. They think he can be a guy who can contribute on a regular basis. But Amaro said he still has to prove it to us, but we believe in him. Three and one now. Kennedy falling behind again. He's thrown 54 pitches, only 28 for strikes. View from the RamTrucks.com pool area. 3-1 to Dom Brown. Charlie Manuel said his expectation coming out of spring training was just to let Brown settle in out there. And Charlie said, you know, just want to turn him loose, let him play, kind of sit back and watch him. And they're hoping the idea of not going down to the minor leagues and playing all the time will help him settle in and be more productive. Yes, he went, says Mike Malinsky, and that's the end of the inning. Third strikeout for Ian Kennedy. Will go bottom three. D-backs trail at 2-1.
In part by Ram Trucks, proud partner of the Arizona Diamondbacks, and by Gila River, another proud partner of the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Welcome back to Chase Field. Diamondbacks trail the Phillies 2-1. Fun times at the Ram Trucks Pool. Great place to watch a game. RamTrucks.com pool area here at Chase Field. Ian Kennedy, Gerardo Parra, DIDI Gregorius here. 9-1-2 in the Arizona third against Tyler Cloyd. Diamondbacks have been out hit so far, 5-1. They trail it 2-1. Ian Kennedy 1 for 14 on the year. A walk. He struck out 7 times. Jimmy Rollins coming in. Five straight retired by Tyler Cloyd. Here's the leadoff man, Gerardo Parra. Parra on base 3 times last night. Singled, doubled, walked, and an RBI groundout. Parra and A.J. Pollock among those tied for the National League lead in doubles. He's got 12 doubles this year.
Second time through the order for Tyler Cloyd. Everybody's had a good look at him. I've talked about this many times. It's one thing to read a scouting report. It's another thing to step in that batter's box and actually see the pitches. I think the D-backs are due to bust out here this second time through the lineup.
Parra walked his first time up. Last year, Tyler Cloyd, International League Pitcher of the Year, 12-1 with AAA Lehigh Valley, a 2.35 ERA. He allowed only 105 hits in 142 innings. Not a hard thrower, as we've said, 93 strikeouts last year, but does have good control. Only 38 walks in AAA last season. Two and two. Boy, Gerardo Parra has done a sensational job to fill what the Diamondbacks feared would be a void when Adam Eaton went down. Not only in performance, but in terms of personality. And the idea that he could help establish an identity at the top of that order that would have a trickle-down effect, and it's worked out well.
Hey, I love a guy, high energy player like Gerardo Parra at the top of the order, making things happen, getting on base, getting dirty.
That one's in the dirt, 3-2. H.A. Pollock and Parra, essentially the leadoff men so far this year. They've both done really well. Both lead the league with 12 doubles. And both in the top 5 in defensive runs saved among National League outfielders. Ryan Howard at first. Cloyd is over there at the bag, 2 away. Six straight retired by Tyler Cloyd. Here is DIDI Gregorius, who hit one high and deep to right his last time up that John Mayberry made a really nice catch on into the wall and right, deep in the corner. Center field, Revere, Mayberry, Revere. We're through 3 here at Chase. Diamondbacks trail it 2-1.
To play defense, because defense, they say, is a good part of the game too, you know, and you know, because you can't hit every time, and you have a good defense, and sometimes you lack. But you know, as a team, we're playing really good. You know, executed the things we have to do, and make the routine outs and make great plays too. So that's what the pitcher's like.
D-back shortstop DIDI Gregorius provided our Geico quote of the game. As if the 19 hits he has so far for the D-backs weren't enough, his play at shortstop has been nothing short of sensational. The D-backs knew they had something very special in this young man as the ball was driven deep to center field. PRADO Park makes the play, but to continue the theme about DIDI Gregorius, all the components of his game and his energy in that clubhouse, something that I don't think a lot of people expected, but certainly it has been welcome so far. Just a quality young man.
Well, Brad, there's one D in defense, but there's two Ds in Didi. There's also one D in Brad.
And the thing you love about him really is he's taking all this in such stride. It's almost like he doesn't realize how good he has been so far for this team. His demeanor is really something to marvel at.
He's a very upbeat and electric young man. It's fun to have him around, and he sure has become must-see TV here at Chase Field. Ben Revere now grounded out his first time up. Corners are way in. 0-2. Mentioned that no National League player hits the ball on the ground more than Ben Revere. He leads the league in ground ball percentage. 73.6 of all balls Ben Revere hits are grounders.
I guess if you're the Phillies, you would prefer that than have him hitting the ball in the air, take advantage of his speed, hit that ball on the ground, try to leg out some infield hits, get some grounders that roll through. It's almost inevitable he's going to hit the ball on the ground. Watch his hands. Got that big hitch. He always ends up hitting down on the baseball, smothering the baseball, if you will, pounding it down into that dirt in front of home plate.
It is a big hitch.
Look at this, just the timing of that swing. He's going to come down on the baseball more often than not.
Two and two now. Ian Kennedy at 62 pitches, only 34 for strikes. Bounced it.
Changeup that just came out of his hand, real funny that time, hit out in front of home plate. He uses that odd hybrid grip.
The Vulcan change, they call it.
Kind of a half circle change, a half splitter that he holds between his ring finger and his middle finger.
Seventh 3-ball count of the game for Ian Kennedy. Ground ball from Ben Revere. DIDI Gregorius is there. 2 down. Mike Fetters is out in the bullpen with Mark Reed. Glenn Sherlock has the night off. Fett and Reed are out there running the bullpen tonight, and he's talking about that Vulcan changeup grip. That's a circle change. There's a changeup and a circle change, Bob. What's the difference between the two?
Well, it depends. I mean, the circle change, basically, if you take your regular fastball grip with your index finger and your middle finger, slide your index finger down and make an OK sign with your thumb.
Kind of like Fett was just doing.
Yeah, and then throw the ball off your middle finger and your ring finger and use your little finger just to kind of balance it. But basically, it's like making an OK sign to your buddies and laying the baseball in your hand with your index finger, your ring finger, or rather your index finger and your thumb making the OK sign, and your middle and ring finger holding the baseball.
Floyd to center. PRADO Park is there. A 1-2-3-4 for Ian Kennedy. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Paul Goldschmidt, Eric Chavez coming up.
circle change, that's a four-seam fastball grip that most pitchers throw with when they throw the four-seamer. To throw a circle change, you just slide your index finger and your thumb together on this side of the baseball, making that OK sign, and hold your middle and ring finger on the four seams. That's a regular changeup, a circle changeup. What Kennedy does, he's got the circle change on the side, but he splits these two fingers wide apart on the seams like that. So it's basically a circle change with a split finger grip. Call it the Vulcan. I like to call it the hybrid changeup, but it works for Ian.
Now, does that put a different kind of motion on the ball than a regular straight changeup?
Not really. I mean, the idea is to take some of the rotation off the baseball, take some of that wrist snap at the end of the delivery off the baseball, and that will cause the speed to be 8 to 10 miles per hour slower than your fastball, ideally.
And ideally, you're looking for that, 10-mile-an-hour difference if you can get it. And for a guy like Ian, who doesn't throw really harder than 90 or so, if he can get that big difference and get that real drop-off in the changeup, that creates a lot of problems for the hitter.
There's a lot of different ways to throw a changeup. He's talking about it right there. Some guys use 3 fingers.
You know who did that? 3-Finger Brown.
Yeah, there you go. He had no choice. But some guys use their index, their middle, and their ring finger all across the seams of the baseball because you can't throw it as hard as you do with 2 fingers. Other guys do what they call choking the ball. They'll hold it way back in the palm of their hand so that their fingers don't even really get involved much with the delivery. A lot of different ways to throw a changeup. Guys are constantly fooling around until they find something that works.
Well, Tyler Cloyd has got it working. He's retired the last 7 he's faced. Paul Goldschmidt leads off the 4th here. Diamondbacks trail at 2-1. Goldie reached on a fielder's choice his first time up and scored when he ran right through Matt Williams' stop sign and came barreling in with the only Diamondbacks run so far. Paul Goldschmidt batting .333 with 5 homers against right-hand pitchers this year. He's hitting .268 against lefties, so he still has those backward platoon splits. We do an ear check on Goldie, and he's speaking of the Vulcan changeup. I mean, live long and prosper, Paul Goldschmidt. There's another walk for Paul Goldschmidt, his 23rd walk of the year. And it's a big reason why he's 7th in the league at on-base percentage. Patience at the plate came into tonight 3rd in the league in walks behind Joey Votto and David Wright. So it's a leadoff walk here in the 4th. And here's Eric Chavez, who in his last at bat almost hit about 4 home runs. Eric Chavez appears to be right on Tyler Cloyd.
Just have to keep it fair now.
Xavi ended up with an RBI double his last time up, the ball on which Paul Goldschmidt ran through the stop sign to score the run.
Tyler Cloyd had 6 starts at the end of the season last year for the Phillies, gave up at least 1 home run in all 6 of those starts, a total of 8.
He's ahead here, 0-2. Last 12 games, Eric Chavez batting .326, 4 homers and 11 RBIs over that 12-game stretch. Struck him out. Second strikeout for Tyler Cloyd. Hey, Wednesday's game, the Braves are here. It's a day game at Chase Field. First pitch at 12:40, and that means matinee pricing. You can get a discount on a great lower level seat. Get a free D-Buck for all weekday afternoon home games. Get a bunch of D-Bucks, come out, get your matinee pricing. Give us a call now, 602-462-4600. Or you can log on to dbacks.com/matinee. A day game here Wednesday against the Braves. First pitch is 12:40. You can check out the RamTrucks.com pool. Cody Ross. Cody on base twice last night. He doubled, he walked, he scored a run. 5-game hit streak, batting .381 over his last 5 games.
Carlos Ruiz has long been one of the best defenders in the National League. Squares that ball up right in the middle of the chest protector. Knew a breaking ball was coming. Was prepared to smother it.
The man they call Chooch.
Chooch.
There's a strike, 2-1. Cody with some big platoon splits. He is crushing lefties at a .429 average. But against right-handers, .211. High in the air, down the left field line. Will it stay fair? Another foul ball. So that's one for Chavez and one for Ross. That was close to the one Goldie hit off the top of the foul pole here in the last homestand.
Paul Goldschmidt territory up there at the top of the foul pole. Just hooks to the wrong side of the pole that time.
And again, this is a guy that is going to consistently throw somewhere between 84, 88. So guys may be out in front a bit here, at least in the first time or two through the order. 3-2.
Now you can see Coy throws that cutter to both sides of the plate. Normally he'll throw it down and away from a right-handed hitter, but that time threw it right at Cody Ross and tried to get the cutting action back to the inside corner.
The front door cutter that they like to throw right off that hip, and it sneaks back into the zone. There's a walk. Second walk of the inning, third of the game for Tyler Coy. Diamondbacks have 2 aboard here with 1 out for Jason Kubel.
We were kind of having some fun with Charlie Manuel last night, talking about how much he loves offense, and would probably love a game of baseball if you didn't have pitchers involved at all. But I had a chance to talk to Matt Williams, who played for the Cleveland Indians in '97 when Charlie was the hitting coach there. Both guys had nothing but good things to say about the other. Charlie Manuel said Matty Williams is a true professional. Matty said he told us the same thing every day in batting practice. Get a good pitch to hit and hit it on the mound.
He's fun to talk to.
Yeah, he is. He loves to fish, and I asked him if he had a chance to do some fishing this offseason. He said no, he stayed in Philadelphia. He was highly involved with the marketing program that the Phillies had, community outreach, was speaking at banquets and dinners and going to luncheons, and didn't have a chance to get out and fish.
He was talking about his hitters. He said, just watch us play every day. We have inconsistent hitters, and that's pretty much all you can say about it. And that's why they're struggling a bit at 16-20. Here's Jason Kubel flying out to center his first time up. Kubel struck out as a pinch hitter in the 8th inning last night. He has good career numbers against the Phillies. A .314 career hitter versus Philadelphia. 3 home runs in 10 games. He is 4 for 22 since coming off the DL. Two 2-0 now. Cody Ross on the cover of D-Backs Insider. You get at the ballpark here with the family. Put some snacks up there.
Obviously, Mark Rita not hosting that party out there at the pool.
2-0 now. Floyd had retired 7 straight going into the inning, but he's walked 2 here. Hard to second. Utley. Rollins. Can they roll it? Howard, they do. Kubel grounds into an inning-ending double play, and we're through 4. Diamondbacks trail it 2-1.
They salute the troops, but tonight it was really, really special. I have Bailey, I have Sophia, and I have Vincent. And they were here tonight. They were up on the Jumbotron. And then what happened after you were up on the Jumbotron?
Daddy came.
Your daddy came home. Staff Sergeant Jeremy Colson, who had been stationed overseas for 8 months. You guys hadn't seen your daddy for 8 months. What was it like to all of a sudden see him at the ballpark?
Happy, because I knew he was coming soon, but I didn't know he was coming right now.
How surprised were you?
Really surprised.
And Bailey, you're 14 years old. It's tough to miss Dad for 8 months. What was it like when you see him up on the Jumbotron? He comes and gives you a big hug.
It was just really overwhelming and really surprising.
And Sophia, what did you? I saw some tears from you, so you must have been very, very happy to see Pops.
I was surprised because he wasn't supposed to come until 8 days, and he just came, and it was awesome.
And Staff Sergeant, we certainly appreciate what you do for this country. When you got in touch with the D-backs and they said this was possible, how excited were you to reunite with your family like this?
I was very gracious and very excited at the same time. I mean, it's hard enough to keep a secret, you know, but one of this magnitude, I was really excited, and the Diamondbacks really were very gracious in allowing us to do this, and it's a life memory that we'll never forget.
And how long do you guys get to be together before you're off defending our country again?
Well, hopefully for a long time. Hopefully for a long time.
Great, a great story, and thanks for stopping by. You're having fun tonight at the ball game, aren't you?
Yes.
Vincent, thanks for your time. We'll talk to you soon. Guys, what a great story and a great reunion. It was really neat to watch it play out up on the Jumbotron and a family reunited.
It sure was, Brad. Thanks very much, and thank you, Staff Sergeant Jeremy Colson and family.
Absolutely.
I think the little guy is going to be a star.
I think so. He's got a future.
Here's Chase Utley. Jimmy Rollins flying out to start the 5th. Ian Kennedy is now retired. 8 of the last 9 he's faced. Rollins, Utley, and Young here in the 5th. In his last start against the Padres at Petco Park on Sunday, Ian Kennedy ran into trouble early. He gave up 2 runs in the first, but then went 17 straight batters without giving up a hit. And we're sort of following that pattern here again, Bob. He gave up 2 runs on 4 hits in the first, gave up 1 hit in the second, but has not allowed a base hit since, and he's retired now 8 of 9.
I think it might be a while before you see Ian Kennedy start a game with a fastball down the middle of the plate. A lot of pitchers refuse to throw first pitch fastball to start a game, just in case that leadoff hitter for the other team is looking to ambush.
There's a walk to Utley with Young and Howard behind him.
Hey fans, we invite you to play Kachinko by signing up at one of the 16 interactive kiosks right here at Chase Field during any Arizona Diamondbacks regular season home game.
In that start against the Padres, when Ian went 17 straight without giving up a hit, he suddenly lost it in the 6th. Back-to-back home runs, both coming on hanging changeups. One to rookie Jed Jerko, and that was the end of his day. Michael Young now has walked, scored, and grounded out. Ian now at 76 pitches, 41 for strikes. Can they roll it here? PRADO, Gregorius. Look at how effortlessly he made that throw. That was a thing of beauty right there. They were not going to beat Young getting up the line, but watch DIDI just hang over the bag and make this throw. This is what it's supposed to look like.
Catch, jump, and throw all in one motion. Not very many shortstops are able to do this. Yeah, that's just a tremendously athletic play, even though they weren't able to turn it.
And it's right there, too. It's right to the glove. That is nice. This kid is really going to be fun to watch for a long time here at Chase Field. So Young's aboard with 2 outs, and here's Ryan Howard. The young Derek Jeter, that's what Kevin Towers said, and you know what? So far he's been proven correct. And when Kevin Towers said that, it was more along the lines of the profile, not the accomplishments.
A similar physical build, similar range at shortstop, similar nose for the ball.
Because KT is one of the, in fact, he's become one of the few guys now who's a GM who comes from the old scouting background, so he's very much an eyeball test guy rather than a, you know, he's not going to show up with a laptop and a slide rule like some of the Ivy League GMs. He's an old school scout, and he looks for comps, and in terms of physically the way they play the game, that was the comp. Center field, Geraldo Parra backing up. Way out there in front of the 407, and he tracks it down. Ian Kennedy escapes the 5th. Diamondbacks trail at 2-1.
In part by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. By Mazda, we believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. And by Jack in the Box, the Chipotle Chicken Club Combo is back for a limited time at Jack in the Box. Try one today with fries and a drink for just $4.99 plus tax.
Chase Field, exclusive home of the Arizona Diamondbacks here on Fox Sports Arizona. And so far, the D-backs with only one hit through 4 innings against Tyler Cloyd, who at this time last week was a Lehigh Valley Iron Pig. He'll face Martin Prado, Miguel Montero, and Ian Kennedy. 7, 8, 9 here in the Arizona 5th. Prado struck out his first time up. Diamondbacks have been out hit 5-1. They trail it 2-1. Prado on base 3 times last night, singled twice, reached on a fielder's choice, scored a run. It was his 4th multi-hit game this month. He's hit safely in 7 of his last 9 games. He's behind 0-2. Martin just .217 for the month of April, but comes into tonight batting an even .300 for the month of May. High above Chase. Just saw Cody Ross hit one there, only it was foul. Prado goes down the right field on a play. Hey, don't forget, be at Chase Field Monday, May 27th, the big Memorial Day doubleheader. Diamondbacks and Rangers, game times 12:40 and 6:40. Buy tickets for both games, and we will throw in free D-Bucks. Plus, between games, you can head outside to the street festival. Enjoy beer garden, food trucks right outside Chase Field. Call 602-462-4600. Prado in the air to right. Mayberry tracking it down. He's had a busy night over there in that corner. One away. Bob, that's another case of Prado leading off an inning and just tomahawking everything to right field.
I think Cloyd didn't give him much opportunity to do anything else. You're not really overly impressed with the stuff you see from the Phillies right-hander, but I am impressed with his location. We talked about him throwing that cutter to both sides of the plate. He's used that 4-seamer in the mid to upper 80s on both sides of the plate. He's really only thrown a couple of breaking pitches, but his command of those 2 pitches has been so good that he's attacked this Diamondbacks lineup basically with a 4-seamer and a cutter.
Yeah, and he's starting to mix in some changeups, as we saw on the first pitch to Prado, and now there to Montero. So Miggy's behind here, 0-1, flied out his first time up. 4 for his last 19 up there.
One thing that has to be very reassuring for Tyler Cloyd is having Carlos Ruiz behind the plate. I mean, there's a lot of Cy Young caliber pitchers in this Phillies rotation when they're all healthy, and to a man they all say we throw whatever Chooch tells us to.
Oh yeah,
he does his homework. He knows the opposing hitters. He knows the strength of his own pitchers, and they don't shake him off.
Strikes out Montero. 3rd strikeout for Tyler Cloyd. 2 quick outs here in the 5th. There is Chooch. You just saw Roy Halladay. Halladay, as we said, will have surgery next week in Los Angeles for a frayed labrum and a partial rotator cuff tear. And the Phillies will need to wait before they get a better idea of how long he'll be out. They're hopeful he'll be back this year. There's a strike to Ian Kennedy, but it's possible, especially with shoulders, that when they go in there, they find more damage than they thought, although they're saying all indications as of right now are that the x-rays look clear and that it should not be too invasive for Roy Halladay. So he's having that shoulder scoped next week in LA, and he'll be out for at least a few months. Got a really good crowd here tonight. This place is full all around. It's packed. Great night to be out here. Why wouldn't you be out here? Yeah. Diamondbacks, Phillies.
Where else would you rather be?
Friday night, beautiful night. Ryan Howard, the whole thing. Sedona red everywhere. Love to see that. Struck him out. 4 strikeouts for Tyler Cloyd. We're through 5. Diamondbacks trail at 2-1. Pitchers Tyler Cloyd, Ian Kennedy. We saw 3 runs in the first inning. But since then, basically crickets. The Diamondbacks have only 1 hit against Cloyd. That was Chavez's RBI double back in the first. The Phillies have not had a base hit off Ian Kennedy since Jimmy Rollins' 2-out single back in the second. And there you go. Ian has walked a few. He's walked 3 tonight, but in terms of the base hits, there's been nothing since the top of the second inning for either side. So on to the 6th we go. Ruiz, Brown, and Mayberry. 5, 6, and 7 here in the Philadelphia 6th. Carlos Ruiz has been on base twice. He's walked and singled. Ruiz was an all-star last season for the first time in his career. In his 6 previous big league seasons, he hit just .236, never more than 9 home runs in a single year. And only once had he ever hit over 300. But last year, at age 33, he hit .325 over 114 games and slugged 16 home runs. He began this season serving a 25-game suspension after a positive test for an amphetamine. Excuse me, right back to Kennedy. 1 away in the 6th.
When you think about Carlos Ruiz, his career has followed a similar arc to Yadier Molina in St. Louis. Both tremendous defensive catchers when they got to the major leagues. Average into 250s or 260s, certainly respectable, but later in their career they kind of learned the fine art of hitting and pitching pitches to go after, and the offensive numbers went up accordingly.
Dominic Brown has an RBI single and struck out. Yeah, there was a while there where Ruiz was almost overrated for being underrated. We got a full house here tonight on a great Friday night at Chase. Fireworks after the game, the whole thing. And they'll get out of play. Switchfoot is playing, Bob, after the game. Are you familiar with Switchfoot?
Vaguely familiar. I can't say I know a lot of their work, but I'm looking forward to sticking around after the game tonight to catch the show.
Really? They must be good.
Yeah. And the fireworks. I'm a big fireworks guy.
Especially during the post-game show.
We want to see some fireworks from the D-backs offense here pretty soon against Tyler Cloyd. They should be well aware of what he's trying to do to him at this point.
Only 1 hit so far for the Diamondbacks. Juan Samuel still with the good hands over there. I always talk about the Diamondbacks coaching staff. You can do a lot worse than Juan Samuel and Ryan Sandberg on your bases.
Hey, you mentioned the Lehigh Iron Pigs a couple times tonight. Ryan Sandberg was the manager down there last year. First year here on Charlie Manuel's staff as the third base coach. A lot of people feel he's the heir apparent when Charlie decides to finally step down.
If it indeed is Charlie who makes the decision.
Yeah.
What do we got here? Is this the all-you-can-eat section? Oh, look at it. BB, that's right in your wheelhouse.
Yes, it is.
All-you-can-eat, hot dogs. That was the best part of the series at Dodger Stadium, was watching Bob Brenly go after Dodger dogs on the way out the door.
Crushing those Dodger dogs.
Give me 6 or 7 for the road.
Yeah.
All-you-can-eat section at Chase Field. Ketchup on a hot dog, that's over the line. I frankly I'd heard a lot about Dodger dogs. I kind of found them overrated. They're okay. It's not a Fenway Frank. It's not a Chase Field hot dog. I think the name is a little better than what you get.
They used to be much better when they were grilled. Actually had a little bit of that barbecue taste to them. There's a little sweetness in the bun. The thing that amazes me is the Dodger dog, there's an inch of hot dog that hangs off either end of the bun.
Yeah, it's way too long for the bun.
Yeah.
I mean, how hard is that? You get a 6-inch bun, you got a 6-inch hot dog. What are we doing?
It's not properly proportioned.
Not rocket science. Here's the 3-2 to Dominic Brown. Struck him out. That's 4 strikeouts for Ian Kennedy. 2 down here in the 6th. He has still not given up a hit since the 2nd inning.
Dominic Brown just continued to chase everything in that location. Up and away, up and away, up and away. Just couldn't lay off that pitch. Finally, Ian able to sneak one past him in that location.
But a nice 10-pitch at bat for Dom Brown. So Kennedy now up to 95 pitches, 54 for strikes. And with 2 outs, here's Big John Mayberry. Boy, Brown steps in there at 6'5", 205. Here's Mayberry at 6'6", 225. It's going to be a daunting lineup, just staring him down. Buzzes the tower there.
Yeah, just to keep him honest, don't be leaning out over the plate. Mayberry, with that frame and those long arms, can cover a lot of that outside corner. You just want to make sure he's not leaning out there.
John Mayberry played college baseball at Stanford. He was a first-round pick by the Rangers in the '05 draft. He was selected only 2 spots ahead of Cliff Pennington, who was drafted by the A's. Texas traded him to Philly after the '08 season for Greg Golson. Way out in front there, 2-1.
See, that pitch is partially set up by the first pitch. Change up on the outside corner. Mayberry, still in the back of his mind, had visions of that fastball sailing up and in. Not as aggressive a swing on that pitch, low and away. That was an aggressive swing.
Mayberry has become a semi-regular here in the lineup. Just over the previous 2 seasons, he had a combined 256 in 2011 and 2012, 29 home runs. Slumping lately, 6 for his last 41 up there. DIDI Gregorius coming in. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. Due up in the bottom of the 6th inning for the Diamondbacks. We'll see Paul Goldschmidt when we come back. Local sports coverage you can't find anywhere else. You can check out right now details emerging on second ownership group bid by the Coyotes. And more from Tyler Lockman on a remarkable start to Patrick Corbin's season here at Chase Field. Plus, Carlos Dansby is coming back, Cardinal fans. Read all about it at foxsportsarizona.com. All right, still only one hit off Tyler Cloyd. Para, Gregorius, Goldschmidt. 1, 2, and 3 here in the 6th. There's a strike. Para has walked and grounded out. He's 0 for 1. He's hit safely in 20 of his last 22 games, batting .307 over that stretch with 15 runs scored. Will it drop in? Brown is there, 1 away. This guy has not given up a hit since the first inning. He's walked 3, he struck out 4. And he's made that 1-run lead stand. Here's DIDI. He is twice flied out.
First fly out was to the top of the wall down into right field corner. Nice running catch by John Mayberry down there to take extra bases away. I don't believe it would have left the park, but it was close.
It was another example of DIDI's pull power, and he yanked this one down the line, and Mayberry goes to get it.
Now possibly extra bases. Don't think it would have gone out.
Rollins can't handle it. Gregorius is aboard.
Fifth error of the season for Jimmy Rollins. I'm assuming that's going to be an error on Jimmy. Yes, indeed it is. That ball had a lot of English, a lot of side English. Just hit his glove and skipped to the right.
Now, I remember when we were in Los Angeles and DiDi Gregorius hit a routine fly ball to left field that Carl Crawford dropped on the transfer. It was ruled an error. Paul Goldschmidt came up next and hit a monstrous 2-run home run. Just saying.
Just saying. History does repeat itself from time to time.
There's a strike, 0-1. Rollins again. Can they roll it here? Utley. Yeah. Tyler Cloyd has thrown 6 innings of 1-hit ball here in Chase Field. We'll go to the 7th. Diamondbacks still trail it 2-1. coming out to the D-backs game on Mother's Day, the Diamondbacks will donate $5 from every ticket sold through this offer to City of Hope. And you can visit dbacks.com/City of Hope for more details. Password HOPE. Hope to see you out here on Mother's Day. That's the Pepsi grab and go section here. Ian Kennedy has retired 13 of the last 15 he's faced. He has not given up a hit since the second inning. Tony Sipp limbering up here. Ian Kennedy had exactly 100 pitches, 57 for strikes. Ben Revere leads it off with a single. See that hitch we talked about before, just swings down on it, right back up the box. And keep an eye on Revere. He can fly. He's got 6 stolen bases this year as Tony Sipp continues to throw. With some left-handers coming up in the order, notably Utley and Howard. Tyler Cloyd shows bunt, corners crash. 1-0.
Paul Goldschmidt coming hard down that first baseline. He's looking to scoop up a possible bunt, maybe get the lead runner at second base. Well, there's a certain amount of timing involved with a runner at first base in an obvious sack bunt situation. Generally, a pitcher is told no pickoffs to first unless you get them from the bench, and then the bench will alert the first baseman to stay back on the base.
Floyd gets it down. Kennedy has no play other than first, and Revere advances. That'll bring up Jimmy Rollins. Rollins tonight hit the very first pitch of the baseball game out for a home run. His second home run of the season and his 44th career leadoff home run. High up in the air. PRADO at second. 2 down. Ian Kennedy has been over 100 pitches in each of his last 5 starts. His season high is 111. That was his last time out on Sunday in San Diego. 104 pitches, only 60 for strikes. And with the left-hander coming up and a left-hander warming, Charles Nagy will check the phone. Mike Fetters down the other end. Mark Reed and Mike Fetters handling bullpen duties for Glenn Sherlock tonight. Glenn is out of town, attending his daughter's graduation from TCU. There's a strike 0-1.
We saw that phone call from Charles Nagy to Mike Fetters. Usually it's very specific at this point. You got the left-handed hitter Utley at the plate right now. That means Tony Sipp is obviously not in the game to face this lefty. Ian Kennedy will get Utley, possibly get Michael Young, the right-handed hitter, after. But if we should happen to get down to Ryan Howard's spot, I would imagine we'll see Tony Sipp into this ball game.
Utley fists it to PRADO at second, and that's the inning. Kennedy strands the runner. Will go bottom 7. Diamondbacks looking for offense, down 2-1. Chavez, Ross, and Kubel here, 4, 5, and 6 in the Arizona 7th. Joe Borowski joins us up here in the booth. And Joe, no disrespect to Tyler Cloyd, but one hit? This guy was a Lehigh Valley Iron Pig last week. What's happening?
It's tough to explain, but a lot of times when you have a pitcher that you've never seen before, you're not quite sure how he's going to attack you as a hitter. But you got to give him a lot of credit, because even though he doesn't have great stuff, he's moving the ball in and out, and he's keeping the ball down.
And it's as we've said, not a guy that throws hard.
No.
He's mid to high 80s.
And he's a perfect example of somebody who needs to rely on location. He's going to get hurt if he leaves the ball over the middle of the plate, but he's doing a really good job of moving it in and out. He's not getting caught in any patterns.
This is there, 2-1. I mean, he's not blowing guys away here.
No.
Topping out at 89.
I think you hit it right on the head, though, Joe. His command has been fantastic. Yeah. I mean, you can count on one hand the number of times he's made mistakes over the middle of the plate, and unfortunately, D-backs hitters pulled him foul.
Yeah, Eric Chavez was one of them, and Cody Ross pulled another one foul on the other side. So, but he's walked a couple, but he hasn't shown any sign of letting up. Chavez skies one up there. Revere coming in, Utley back. Revere calls him off. There's a loud out, number 1. Will Harris just called up from Reno, throwing in the Diamondbacks bullpen right now. Tony Sipp had been waiting. So Young is scheduled to start the 8th. He's a right-hander. He's followed by Howard, the left-hander. So maybe you're going to match up individually here in a 2-1 game?
I think if he's looking at, he's going to throw the Young guy against Michael Young, and then he'll probably bring in Sipp to face Howard.
Cody Ross looks at a strike. Cody is grounded out and walked, 0 for 1.
Especially knowing you're going through the heart of the Philly order in the next inning, you need to keep Philly right where they're at to give the Diamondbacks a chance to come back in this game.
To left, Dominic Brown can't get there. Ross is aboard with 1 out here in the 7th. Cody's now hit in 6 straight games.
It's got to start somewhere, and this time it starts with a little soft line drive into left field, just in front of Dominic Brown out there.
Boy, did he go down there and get that. That's going to be it, perhaps. Here comes Charlie Manuel. We'll see. Antonio Bastardo is warming up. They like to go Bastardo, Adams, Papelbon, 7, 8, 9, and that appears to be the formula here. So Tyler Cloyd, after a tremendous performance here, will exit. We'll take a break. Diamondbacks trail at 2-1. round draft pick back in 08, has pitched a gem here at Chase Field, and now Antonio Bastardo is on to try and help preserve it.
Bastardo, fastball slider. We briefly mentioned him last night. He's a guy that works very deliberately, tries to lull hitters to sleep up there at the plate. A little more heater than we saw from Tyler Cloyd.
Opponents hitting only 171 against him this year. They are 6 for 35.
With some outstanding pitching performances around baseball tonight. John Lester of the Boston Red Sox gave up just one base runner. Messias Torres 2-out double in the 6th. 5-0 shutout of the Toronto Blue Jays. Gave up only the 1 hit. Shelby Miller from St. Louis allowed a leadoff broken bat single to Eric Young Jr. and then retired 27 in a row to defeat the Rockies tonight.
Shelby Miller has been one of the baseball's top pitching prospects for a while, and he's having a breakthrough season here after showing some glimpses last year. Jason Kubel now. Ross at first with 1 out here. Diamondbacks down 2-1. Kubel has flied out and hit into a double play. He's 0 for 2 and 4 for 24 since he came off the DL. He's ahead 2-0. So Joe Bastardo has come in here, key situation, and he's quickly behind 2-0. Now what?
Well, if you look down in the bullpen, he's in there for a little bit because there ain't nobody warming up. So
Papelbon is stirring. A little early for him. There's the strike, 2-1.
And you see the first 2 pitches were breaking balls. He's trying to get Kubel to swing at one of his pitches. After falling behind 2-0, he realizes he has to come over the plate. Throws a good fastball down in the zone right there.
Kubel high to center field. Revere backing up at the wall. And he's got it. There goes Cody Ross, heads for second, and he's going to make it.
Tough read for Cody Ross. That ball carried a long way to center field. At the last instant, he realized that Ben Revere was going to get under it and make the catch, so he hustled back to the bag. Gets into second on his belly, where he's in scoring position for Martin Prado.
And the Diamondbacks are 0 for their last 19 with runners in scoring position. It's been a consistent problem this year, and there's a chance to change that. Martin Prado is 0 for 2. He has struck out and flied out. Ross, the tying run at second with 2 outs here in the 7th. Vic Carapazza stops the action there. Martinez hit safely in 7 of his last 9 games, 308 over that stretch. He is 12 for his last 41 overall. 1-1. Joe, a different look to the order here tonight.
Yeah, big shakeup by Gibby. Montero hitting in the 8 hole. Prado in the 7th hole. And I thought you said it perfectly, Bob. He may be trying to shake things up, trying to get those guys to, not that they're not working at trying to get out of the slump that they're in, but just kind of, you know, hey, you can hit in the bottom of the order if you're not going to produce.
Yeah, we've seen the T-shirts on the Diamondbacks, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Well, you know, maybe you put him down in that 8th spot in the lineup, make him a little uncomfortable, and possibly bring out the best in Miguel Montero and Martin Prado hitting down here at the bottom of the order tonight.
2-2 now. Miguel Montero, the 8th place hitter tonight, on deck. Martin's talking to himself out there. Or he's talking to Vic Carapazza. Long conference between Carlos Ruiz and Antonio Bastardo.
Martin's really upset with himself, mad about the approach that time. Get a mistake and knock the living daylights out of it right here. As Charlie says, hit it on the mount.
Foul ball, Prado's down.
That protective guard up on his left ankle. I think this one got him in the foot. Oh, just below the bottom of the guard there.
Carapazza will brush off home plate, give Martin a chance to recover a bit here. Professional courtesy from the umpire. We'll do it again at 2-2.
Watching Carlos Ruiz move around back there behind home plate. He had set up on the inside part, gave a target on the inside corner, and then right before Bastardo started his delivery, he hopped out to the outside corner. Just in case Cody Ross is relaying signs or relaying location from second base. Set up as late as possible.
He wanted that one down, Joe, but it looked like he got it up.
Yeah, and Martin's doing a good job of spoiling some pitches here. He's trying to make Bastardo make a mistake here over the middle.
Base hit! They wave Ross. He's the tying run. Here's the throw. He scores. Martin Prado, RBI single. The Diamondbacks have tied it at 2. And there's a base hit with a runner in scoring position. The drought is over.
Well, shoot off some of the post-game fireworks right now. Good battling at bat by Martin Prado. Had a little frustration in the middle of it, but ultimately comes up with the opposite field base hit. 2 outs in the inning. Cody Ross is off on contact and scores ahead of the throw. Was cut off by Ryan Howard. They had no chance to get him at the plate anyway.
Prado breaks an 0 for 29 slump with runners in scoring position. DIDI up there on the top step. And the Diamondbacks have come back to tie it up and still with the inning going here. Miguel Montero. And Ian Kennedy is off the hook. Montero flied out in the second, struck out looking back in the 5th. He's 0 for 2. 4 for his last 20 up there. Prado now represents the go-ahead run. Joe, have you noticed that Miggy's seen, while he's been fighting himself more than anything else, he seems to be taking bigger swings?
And that's plagued him for years. When he struggled, he's trying to hit the ball so hard, When you see him and when you know he's getting out of it is when he starts hitting that left center gap. He's letting the ball travel deeper and he's making solid contact. But when he struggles, he tends to overswing.
It's funny when you talk to him, he says he does the same thing on the golf course. He's new to golf. He loves it. He says he only plays during the off season, but when he's not playing golf well, he gets up on the tee. He does the same thing. He just tries to grip it and rip it.
The harder you swing, the earlier you have to start your bat to catch up to a good fastball. That leaves you susceptible to off-speed pitches. It makes you swing at bad pitches out of the zone. Really just compounds itself.
The wave works its way around here. Pitcher spot is up next. A.J. Pollock is on deck. And they have Prado hung up. So a base running blunder there, but Prado gets the game tying single. We're 2-2 going to the 8th. Food stores back and ready to take you to a D-backs game. Stop by this month's participating Gilbert Cox retail store or Fry's food store in Prescott Valley, and you can enter to win 2 seats on this Fan Express bus. You'll get a round-trip transportation to the D-backs game May 25th or 26th. The registration ends soon, May 13th. So don't wait. More information, visit FoxSportsArizona.com. 2-2 in the 8th, and it's our first look at Will Harris. Harris had 2 saves and 12 appearances in Reno this season. He recorded 23 strikeouts in 11 2/3 against 12 hits and 6 walks. He got the call when J.J. Putz went on the DL.
Fastball, cutter, kind of a slurvy breaking ball combination from Will Harris. You see the 23 punch-outs in just over 11 innings of work.
He'll face Michael Young, Ryan Howard, and Carlos Ruiz here in the 8th inning. Tony Sipp, who was throwing earlier in case Ryan Howard got up, is still throwing, so this may be Harris's only hitter here. Harris is 28 years old. He turns 29 in August, from Slidell, Louisiana. Went to LSU. Rockies got him as a 9th round pick in the 06 draft. He was waived by Colorado in April. A's picked him up, put him right back on waivers, and the Diamondbacks grabbed him. Yes, he went. Gary Cederstrom. Michael Young can't believe it.
Nothing slurvy about that breaking ball. That's a nasty yellow hammer, and Young has a good complaint right there. He was way checked that time.
That wasn't even close. He's still looking down there at Gary Cederstrom. I don't blame him. Struck him out. And a few looks down to first for Michael Young as he walks back to the dugout. Glare would be a better word. Here comes Gibby. We'll see Tony Sipp to face Ryan Howard. So Will Harris comes in and strikes out his first batter, and so far only batter he's faced as a Diamondback. Pitching change. We're back after this. Inning, and Bob, that means the shift is back on.
Yeah, in case you weren't with us the open of the show, this is what the Diamondbacks do defensively when big Ryan Howard comes to the plate. You can see on the chart on the right, he never hits the ball in that particular shaded direction, so why put a defender there? Load up on that right side where he's most likely to hit the ball, including first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, all on the right side of the infield.
Ryan Howard is 0 for 3. He has twice flied out. He's also struck out. He hit directly into the shift twice last night. Both times should have been base hits. They normally would have been had the shift not been on. Instead, they were both recorded as ground outs to second base. There is the third baseman, Eric Chavez, way over there where the second baseman would normally be. Prado is in shallow right. There's the strike, 0-1. Tony Sipp has not given up a run over his last 5 appearances. He's allowed 3 hits and 3 walks in 3 2/3 innings over that span, with 1 strikeout. We saw Tony on Tuesday night at Dodger Stadium. Came on in the 7th with a go-ahead run on second in a tie game and got 2 big outs. Sipp has allowed a run to score in only 3 of his 15 appearances this year.
Wind's kicking up here inside of Chase Field. Actually saw a few raindrops fall through the open roof. Not enough to obviously force the closure of the roof.
Too early for that. Let's hang on as long as we can.
I mean, that's hardly any rain. I think pitching coaches are more concerned about the swirling winds inside the ballpark right now, what effect it may have on batted balls.
Struck him out. Tony Sipp gets a big out there. Let's update the AT&T Twitter poll question. Should more teams employ the defensive shift? No. I'm kind of surprised. We've illustrated that it's worked to perfection so far in this series.
It's all about playing the percentages. Over the course of 162 games, you try to play the percentages as often as you can. And for me, the shift has been proven that it works.
Interesting. We've seen it work. I'm a little confused as to what the issue would be. I know it looks funny. Here's Carlos Ruiz. He has singled, walked, and grounded out. He's 1 for 2. Thunder or wind?
That could be Switchfoot warming up.
Nice. Yeah, the wind is out. Look at Tony Sipp's jersey. The wind is whipping around here now. It's very sudden, just started. Watch Tony Sipp's shirt here. I mean, it's a blustery day down there. 2-1 to Carlos Ruiz. And the pool area is getting blown away. 3-1 now. Yeah, that's the sound of the wind on the microphones.
A little reminiscent of Game 7 of that 2001 World Series. Started to rain, the wind started to whip through the ballpark here, and as quickly as it started, it stopped. Of course, we know how it ended.
The infield was in at the wrong time.
Well, it's just the right time.
There's a strike, 3-2.
Well, a good comeback pitch to get back in the sequence there. A breaking ball, just rolled it up there for a strike, figuring Ruiz is looking for a fastball at 3-1 count. Quit on that pitch early, broke right across the heart of the plate.
The Aaron Hill bobblehead doll is up here bobbling with the wind. Brad Ziegler warming up. There's the actual Aaron Hill. Still nursing a broken hand, small surface fracture after he was hit by James McDonald. It seems like a couple of seasons ago at this point.
One thing we know about Aaron Hill, his legs will be in shape when he comes back, because that's basically all he can do at this point. He can throw and he can run. Can't catch, can't swing.
Popped him up. Parr in center. Will Harris and Tony Sipp work a 1-2-3-8. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. We'll see Miguel Montero lead off the Diamondback 8th. can join the millions of fans and subscribe today. Watch every out-of-market game live online or in HD quality with MLB.TV Premium. You can visit MLB.TV today. It's baseball everywhere. Lining up for a good finish here at Chase Field. Glad you're with us. Steve Berthune, Bob Brenly, and a cavalcade of stars along the way. New pitcher for the Phillies here in a 2-2 game in the 8th is the veteran Mike Adams.
Well, you mentioned this is the formula for Charlie Manuel when they have a lead and in a tie game as well. Bastardo to Adams to Papelbon. See the numbers for Mike Adams this season. A veteran fastball slider pitcher, throws a lot of sliders.
And that means Adams and Revere are both out there for Philadelphia. Miguel Montero, the pitcher spot, and Gerardo Parra, 8-9-1 here in the 8th. Eric Hinsky is on deck. He will hit for the pitcher. Miggy 0 for 2, struck out his last time up. And Montero drives it to right. Off the pole and gone. Miguel Montero, the solo shot. The Diamondbacks take the lead. That's a Fulton home run and another $150 to Central Arizona Mountain Rescue, and all smiles for Miggy.
His struggles have been well documented lately, but nothing wrong with that swing. Adams trying to jump ahead with a first pitch fastball. Miggy was all over it. Now 4 for 8 lifetime against the Phillies right here.
Here's Eric Hinsky, 3-2 Diamondbacks. And now the question becomes, with Heath Bell having pitched on 3 consecutive days, nailing down a save every time, who gets the ball in the 9th? Bell has worked a lot. J.J. Putz is on the DL.
Well, I think we have the answer to your question.
We'll take a shot at right after this pitch. 1-1, and the winner is David Hernandez, who looked very good in his last appearance. Much more confident. He was locating very well.
Much more under control. Was throwing his ball or his pitches to spots rather than just aiming toward the catcher.
It was certainly a very encouraging outing. Eric Hinsky this season 6-4-21 as a pinch hitter. He has a double, a homer, and 4 RBI. Over his last 9 games, Eric has had 8 plate appearances, so he's 3 for his last 8 up there with a double. He still started only 1 game all year, but he punches in nearly every night with a key at bat late in the game. And you look at, Bob, the way that they've utilized both Hinsky and Chavez off that bench. Those were 2 of the prime acquisitions by Kevin Towers in the offseason, and boy, they've both contributed mightily here so far.
Yeah, especially with numbers like that, 15 games decided by 1 run. Sometimes that's 1 key at bat late in the ball game, and you love to have those veteran guys to take those key at bats.
Ball 4 to Eric Chavez. Adams has given up a home run and a walk, and there's 1 aboard here with nobody out for the top of the order. Hey, tomorrow Brandon Webb is back. He's our special guest analyst for tomorrow's D-backs Live pre- and post-game shows. Coverage on the D-backs and Phillies begins tomorrow 4:30. So it's a 4:30 start on your TV right here tomorrow on Fox Sports Arizona. Brandon Webb. He'll be up here. He'll be all over the place.
Yeah,
good to have him.
Good to see Webby again.
Here's Gerardo Parra. 0 for 2 with a walk. Mike Adams came into this appearance with an active 5-inning scoreless streak. Not so much.
Not anymore.
Well, I remember when this guy was in San Diego with Gregerson and Heath Bell, and it was Gregerson in the 7th, Adams in the 8th, Bell in the 9th. Shut the door.
Shortened it to a 6-inning game for Bud Black down there. If you had a lead after 6, you could phone it in.
Those 3 guys in tandem were tremendous, and Kevin Towers, of course, was the architect of that bullpen, as well as many others. 1-1 now to Parra. I still can't believe the result of the AT&T Twitter poll question.
That's mind-boggling.
You think perhaps people just think it's not fair? That's the only thing I can come up with.
I don't know. I don't get it.
But that's why we do the AT&T Twitter poll. You never know what you're going to get. It's like a box of chocolates, Forrest. Chopper up the middle. Rollins steps on the bag, throws to first. 2 quick outs there for Mike Adams. Well, he still does that as smoothly as anyone. So here's Didi, still without a hit tonight. That's news in and of itself. He has flied out twice and reached on an error. Although granted, one of those flyouts should have been a double off the wall. John Mayberry made a terrific catch in the right field corner. Big swing. Adams will feel it. And that's the inning. But Miguel Montero, a home run off the right field foul pole, has given the Diamondbacks a 3-2 lead as we go to the 9th at Chase.
Just about how important it is to have back-end bullpen depth, and you know he's had an eye to see guys, and he originally really discovered a heater. He looked at David, he saw David. JJ was already a closer. He saw something in his scouts and Reynolds, Sips over here. I mean, these guys, and then again, it's our job to try and put these guys in situations that they can succeed.
I asked Kurt Gibson earlier today about having the luxury of having so many different arms down in that bullpen if, in fact, Heath Bell could not go tonight. And David Hernandez is certainly one of those guys. He gave a lot of credit to Kevin Towers. He built this bullpen from the back forward. And Hernandez did a nice job last year closing when JJ was shut down, but he said he wouldn't hesitate a second as the ball gets through the legs of Paul Goldschmidt for a base hit to right field. But just talking about so many different arm angles, and he's not afraid to use Matt Reynolds in a closer situation, Brad Ziegler, a lot of guys down there. And so KT doing a nice job building this bullpen, and he's got a lot of options to go to.
New outfield options as well, Brad. They have a reconstructed outfield of Cody Ross in left now. A.J. Pollock is in the game. He's taken over in center. And Gerardo Parra moves to right. That's an error on Paul Goldschmidt. And leadoff man Dominic Brown is aboard here in the 9th. John Mayberry now. Mayberry is 0 for 3. David Hernandez worked a clean inning his last outing against the Phillies here last night. A 1-2-3-8 that included a strikeout of Michael Young. He has pitched scoreless ball in 4 of his last 5 outings. He's allowed 4 hits in 6 innings over that span with 4 walks and 4 strikeouts. Yes, he went, says Gary Cederstrom. David Hernandez taking care of business. The amazing rewards credit card from NBAZ.com. Learn more at NBArizona.com.
That was the slider from David Hernandez. We mentioned it in his last outing. He was basically fastball power curve, but he started to incorporate that slider a little more often. It's been a good pitch for him.
Base hit. Brown stops at second. First 2 men aboard here in the Phillies' 9th. Well, if you need a man for a ground ball double play ball, it's Ben Revere. He is 1 for 3, singled his last time up. We mentioned it earlier. No National League player hits the ball on the ground more than Ben Revere. He leads the league with a ground ball rate of more than 73%.
I think you're going to see Ben Revere put down a sac bunt here. I mentioned it last night. He's the only position player for the Phillies that's put down a sacrifice bunt this year. He's done it twice.
Squares up here. Gets down a good one. Chavez has no play but the first. Runners advance, 1 out. So the pitcher spot is coming up next. We should get a look at Lance Nix here, who's done a great job off the bench for Charlie Manuel in that role. And there is indeed Lance Nix.
7 for 16 with 2 homers and 5 driven in off the bench.
Mike Adams, number 19, Lance Nix.
He grounded out in a pinch hit appearance, the final out of last night's game. Brown the tying run on third. Mayberry the go-ahead run on second. 1 out here in the 9th. Misses inside, 1-0. We saw Lance's brother Jason Nix earlier this season at Yankee Stadium. Nix 70 games with the Phillies last year, hit .246 with 3 home runs. Miguel, watch out.
Aquí estamos. Todo o no todo bajo control. No creo que todo bajo control.
1-1 to Lance Nix.
Nix coming off that bench. He's hungry to swing that bat. Chases a high fastball that time. Can't catch up to it.
31,900 here making some noise. Two and two.
Tried to go right back up there again. See if he could get him to chase another high fastball. That one at 95.
third, Mayberry at second. Little looper. Who got it? Eric Chavez has it. As usual, Didi is covering almost too much ground. That's our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game.
Shortstop Jimmy Rollins.
It was hard to tell which one of them had it.
Yeah. Didi had to go a long way to get over there. Fortunately, Chavez gets underneath Didi, makes the catch. Big out right there. Oh.
Wow, it's amazing that Eric was able to hang on to that ball because Didi really slammed into his glove hand harder than we first thought. So Rollins will get a chance here. David Hernandez, 1 out away. Rollins homered on the first pitch of the game tonight off Ian Kennedy. There's a strike, 0-1.
Wow.
Right off the hip. Goldie at first, and there it is. David Hernandez shuts the door, and the Diamondbacks have won 5 in a row. Let's take a look at our tools of the trade, brought to you by Ram Trucks. Miguel Montero facing Mike Adams in a 2-2 game to lead off the 8th.
Perfect example of why you never quit on a game, you never quit on an at bat, and certainly you never quit on yourself. Miggy 0 for 2 in his first 2 plate trips today. Third time up, he bangs one off that foul pole for the game winner.
Last season in 1-run games, the Diamondbacks were 15-27. So far this year, they are 10-6. The D-backs have now won 5 in a row and 6 of their last 7 games. And they have a chance at the end of play today to have the NL West lead all to themselves. Another win here at Chase over the Phillies. Let's send it out to Todd Walsh.
Steve, thanks a lot. Coming up, our post-game show, Diamondbacks Live, presented by CenturyLink in just a couple of moments. I cannot tell a lie, though. Full disclosure, Joe Borowski on our way from the broadcast booth out here to the set. You said in the elevator, and I quote, how about a bomb from Miguel Montero? How'd you feel that one coming?
Well, you know how I feel about free baseball, Todd. So I was just throwing it out there, and a blind squirrel finds a nut every so often.
Well, we've got lots to break down, though. How the Diamondbacks came back to find a way to win, Ian Kennedy's performance, and who knows what else. Player reaction, whatever's on Joe's mind, of course. We'll get down on the field right when we come back. Brad Stuckey is there. Diamondbacks Live, presented by CenturyLink, is coming up in a matter of moments here at Fox Sports Arizona after this thrilling victory at Chase Field.